Hello, friends. Giuliano here. It's the 3rd of May. Actually, no, it's now 4th of May. It is with us. And I'm here with a BTC update. We're going to go lower time frames, but we're going to start from the monthly time frame. So yeah, if you like this, stick around and I'm going to share the screen and we'll take a look together. All right, hit the like button if you like it. And let's pay some attention here. What do we see? What is going on? So if this looks like a flat pattern still, okay, that's what the thesis we're going with. We'll call it a thesis. And this move here, looking for some sort of terminal on the impulsive C wave if we're talking Elliott wave, but we don't even have to talk like that. For now, we can just look at this structure and consider possibility that it is flat. So it's this flat pattern. Okay. Now, this is definitely a neo wave type of discussion. We're using neo wave principles. So this flat pattern here, generally A, B, C wave. Well, we have some time frames to look at, but if we just take, candle action and other indicators like this Bollinger Bands and 20-month moving average. In this previous month, we've moved below the 20-month moving average. Now, I would say if this month of May can at least close around 40,000, even more precisely, if we say like 41 and ish, then at least you're just below the 20-month, and then in June you can push higher and close higher. That's possibility. Now, if you can close above, anywhere above like 41,500, roughly 580, whatever it's going to be, if you can close there or above, then you are actually ready for potentially either a little pause or right away go higher. And when we look at lower time frames, it's like either we're going to go in May or June, or this is going to take a lot longer. Now, a big question becomes, can it go sideways? Can it do some sort of crazy accumulation time until, let's say, September, August, September, October, November, when you have at least this level of Ichimoku cloud support? I don't think that happens. I think if you stay below here low enough, it breaks down. But I think also we're going to see on the lower time frames, there's an oscillation that happens, and we might be looking for potential move up. Now, I don't know what that means for the month long term, but let's take a look where we're going to close out this month. There might also be price action below in wick format and close higher. Yes, also possible to have a red candle here. And then, like I said, the whole thing could break down. And I think that's when we start talking weekly chart. But again, the thesis generally is flat pattern, some form of A, B, C here. And as per Elliott wave, it would be, a 3 correction. So 3 down A, 3 up B, 5 down C type of impulse. Now in this one, let's call it a neo wave logic here, where we talk about a terminal impulse where the 4 wave can trade within the 1 wave and is part of the fabrication. Now in this case, it looks like this will get there on the daily, and we've talked about this before, so look at previous videos if you want. But when we were talking about the monthly and breaking down of levels, we're currently right at this Ichimoku cloud level, lower half of the Bollinger Band, which is relatively narrowing. And it's like if the price is going to go below this level, okay, then you're below the Ichimoku cloud. Okay, and if you're lucky enough to get a retest up here, that's probably a sign that there's a good chance you're coming down towards these 200-week moving average. Like that's that scenario, okay? And it could even, fight up here first before going down. So we still have to watch this Ichimoku cloud level where right here, as soon as we break down below that and can't really hold it, you're really also at the lower end of the Bollinger Band there. All right. So that whole confluent area is a good area to recognize, and that's around the 34, 34 and a half. Of course, it can wick below. And I mean, I guess, well, but at that point, yeah, it's very dangerous and scary. But you still have the channel, this blue channel from the tops and the bottoms of this flat pattern. So technically, you know, you still have some sort of wick level of support down here around like 32, but you don't really want to be coming to trade there. You want to be closing somewhere higher. And also when we go to the daily, it looks like you don't want to go too much with this fifth wave down of the 5 waves. You don't want to go too far down because then you start potentially breaking a third wave move. Although if you want to start counting specifically where you start to move down, then you might be getting arguments that are okay to have this be a little bit bigger. But you're still, again, comparing with this third wave, yeah, you don't want it to go too much further down. So there's that idea. And when we look on the daily, again, we'll see potential for, you know, the double bottom, which on a bigger scale mimics a double bottom of bigger proportion. And yeah, we'll see how that works. And also time frame and momentum could turn around at least enough to get out of this hole and then find something which can then lead to something higher. But when we look at bigger time frames, we look A to B, oops. Then and let's say we start around here or here, then yeah, you definitely want to be out of it by, you know, by August. Wow, depending if you start then. If you go into June, then maybe by September, you want to be above these like 80,000, 75,000 levels. That's a tall order considering the sentiment in the market, but that's just also part of the thesis because that allows for the reversal energy where everybody finally capitulates to bearish. Now, having said that, in previous times, we've seen what seemed like, oh, it's going to reverse maybe here, and then, oh no, it just flattened and then boom, fell out. Even here as well. Oh, this is the bottom down here. Okay, we come up. Yes, we're out of it. Boom, not out of it. Severe capitulation there. So is there a capitulation going to happen here on a bigger scale, on a weekly scale? Possible. But when I look at also the weekly, we also see here many red candles in a row. So is this one going to be green? I don't know, but maybe the next one will. But even this one, if it's green, maybe there's a wick up here. We'll see on the daily. Maybe we even try and test this 20-week moving average with a wick at like the high 40,000 level, 40,800 type thing. But maybe it doesn't get that high. But I can see a sense of like, maybe even you get a green candle this week, but maybe not. Maybe it's red, but it does have a wick. And we'll see. Where does this price come into this potential zone here? Is it this week, next week, week after? All three of them? None of them? Does it just break down even further? We'll find out. Tomorrow's a huge day. And so speaking of which, we're going to come to this daily time frame. But I guess the big point is an invalidation is like getting below the Ichimoku cloud, rejecting from below, and then continuing down would be the next logical idea. The other option is like you get some good buying support if it dumps down, then, and you know, when the price is kind of closing in these kinds of levels, then you're really thinking strong. And when we get into the daily, we can look at measured moves and find out how they fit into this boxy area. So let's go to the daily. Hope you're still with me and I hope it's helping. Okay, previously, if you want to look at some of this information, look at the previous BTC update video. We talk about relationships between wave 2 and 4 and some of these other ideas about the dates, okay, and this price zone. So now we're at the lower end of the Bollinger Band. So yeah, there's a good chance we just dump right away. But there's also this chance momentum-wise. It looks like slow and narrowing. So it could be winding up, literally winding up for a pop to the upside. It doesn't have to be big, and it might just even last a day or maybe two, whatever it is. And maybe come towards either this 20-day moving average here, or even like somehow pop up to this upper end here, maybe top Bollinger Band, a bit of this kind of resistance-y energy there. I don't know if it would get there. That's really high, 41,000 levels. But even like a 40,000 and a half is basically a good zone for previous resistance levels and support level here. So resistance and support level right there. And but the thing is, then you're going above the 20-day. So if you're going above the 20-day, I imagine you're probably going to come and touch around this like upward trending line. So that's the possibility. Okay, this is the idea of if we're going to just pop higher, maybe blow off a little steam, you know, to the upside. Because yeah, when we look at the daily, we're really narrowing. It's going to be volatile one way or the other. But we're looking for potential upside. You can see that with this RSI as well, really winding. And yeah, you're at the lower end of the Bollinger Band, and it's not really narrow yet. So possibility to just hop to the other side before coming down further and dumping around this time frame here, where you're in May, like middle of May, 14th, 20th, that kind of thing, or maybe even a bit later. Like these are just the early dates where we're comparing the waves 3 and 4 and the waves 1 and 3 to have ideas. And then this is where we are comparing the whole A and B equals C for the big macro. So that would be at the beginning of June. So, you know, you could, who knows what could happen in between, and you have your final capitulations around this time here. We'll see. We'll see. And it doesn't have to be exact with this timing. It's very challenging to time the market and as well figure out the price. But if we do, so let's imagine, okay, fine. One option is we just dump right away. Fine. The move up option first and then a dump is going to give us a nice measured move as well. So let's say we start here with our dump, and okay, we can come here where it ended and started getting choppy, but we'll start here, okay? Come here. I mean, you could go from here. If you go to this top here and you want to play that game, then you're 1-to-1 around the top of the level here. But if you imagine maybe we only get around here, but we do bounce from here, some sort of 1-to-1 brings you to this lower end of the box. So you could play in there with that price move, okay? And if you want to come just down a little bit lower to this wick down here and play from there, you can. And that's, you know, you get a bounce up here. And so ultimately what you're playing with is some sort of move down, like an A wave type of down, and then some sort of B wave as a correction there. And then you get your C wave down. And 1-to-1 is here. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but it helps when they are pretty accurate, and they can be at times. So we'll see, where does this happen? Like, do we even get a bounce, firstly? And secondly, where does the bounce end? If the bounce, let's say, instead ends at the 20, then, you know, a 1-to-1 brings you pretty low down there. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, that's it for on daily. And then we're just going to quickly look. So that's that. We will look at the 4-hour just to get an idea of the momentum and where we are. So you also want to see, like, even before the weekly, on the daily and on the 4-hourly and such, on the lower time frames, this kind of uptrending line here, I think, is significant. That'll start to signal that we might be coming down to test these lows here as support, which is like between, you know, let's say 33.5 to 34 ish. So that type of level. So yeah, you're looking for this to break down and then get lower. Otherwise, yeah, if this kind of general zone holds and you get some sort of push up, now where do we go? We go into the 40,000s and then kind of break down from there and then get our capitulation times whenever, who knows when that's gonna happen. This is only a few days. And no, that's close to May and June. Here's our kind of time frame here anyway. So yeah, let's watch what happens. It's gonna be very interesting. So stick around for more. We're gonna wait for that final fifth wave here somewhere to end. Potentially started over here. And yeah, I think that's, and what I wanted to look at was the momentum. And so when we look at this, you know, we've seen a bit of continued negative momentum. The RSI, sorry, the MACD and signal lines down at the negative territory. So could they pop up higher? I mean, there's a chance here. So there's that. And then let's just go a little lower. Let's take it like down to the 1 hour and look here on the 1 hour. It looks like you could potentially get across. So if you get across here, a MACD bullish cross, then, you know, there's been enough time in the negative. You might get some sort of price move into the 40,000s. Maybe you only hit like the high 39s. I guess that's possible too, that it really fizzles. A high 39s on the 4 hour chart will bring you, yeah, even a high 39s brings you over this 200 average. So maybe the price move only gets you to the high 38s, really, if that's a weak fizzle move, in which case is very insignificant. So the move on the daily that we were looking at is much more of a move, you know, up to here. And, you know, on the 4 hour, or sorry, on the 1 hourly, you have enough momentum to break higher above the 200 period average, something like this, where it's below, can break high enough above, but then it crashes down. Below type area, move, push high enough above, and then crash back down. That's what we're potentially looking for here. So that's on the 1 hourly. So you do have potential for these momentums to move higher. Yeah, I think 1 hour is good enough. 4 hours, good enough. We don't, you know, you want to check lower, go to the 3 hour, whatever. I don't know. 4 hour high 38s just brings you to the top of the Bollinger Band. So that's cool. And maybe, who knows? I mean, high 39s to the 40,000 levels, you start getting into this Ichimoku cloud. So maybe you don't quite make it here on the 4 hour, but in my opinion, maybe it's something where you actually get into the cloud and you fight somewhere, but then you break down. Maybe you got this 200 period moving average as well coming down. So who knows what happens there with that? We'll see. All right. I think that's it. That's my general sentiment here and reading out of these charts. Yeah, what was that 4 hour RSI doing? I mean, I guess, you know, oops. There's definitely room for this one to drop down into an oversold territory, but at the same time, it could move up. So 4 hour is kind of neither here nor there, although it is making basically higher lows. And where was it? It's in the low 40s now. So if it holds that and can go higher, you got a chance at least to try and make it to 60. All right. So that's it on the 4 hour. You're really asking for a lot on the 4 hour. You know, maybe on the 4 hour, you don't really get anything here. Maybe it doesn't come. Maybe the 4 hour signaling, it's not going to come. It's only going to be a little pop, and that's not going to be significant enough. But on the daily, that, you know, that could mean a move to your potentially wicking around your 20-day moving average on the underside, and it's definitely possible. But it's kind of interesting. So stick around and find out what happens. You know, nobody knows, but I think there are some signs pointing towards a potential move to the upside before another capitulatory move down to the downside. Let's see what happens. All right. Yeah, I think that's it. All right. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen. Thanks for watching. We're wishing you lots of love, peace, and happiness. Goodbye.